Who are you? I mean, really? It's probably one of the oldest and most personal questions we could ever ask. For centuries, we've been on this quest to solve the mystery of the self, and let me tell you, that search has led to some radically different places. So let's try and unravel this mystery together.
All right, here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to kick things off by looking at our modern identity crisis. Then we'll investigate two major competing theories, the whole ghost in the machine idea and the flip side that we're just a lucky animal. And finally, we'll explore a third way forward, the self that's found in relationship, and figure out what it means to have a royal commission.
You know, right now, we're living through a massive shift in how we understand ourselves. We're kind of caught between two fundamentally different stories about what it even means to be human.
It really all boils down to this one question. What is it that truly defines us? What's that core you-ness that makes you, well, you?
And basically, there are two dominant answers out there. On one side, you've got Platonism. This view says your true self is a spirit, a soul, that's totally separate from your physical body. Then, on the other side, you have materialism, which argues that there's no soul at all. You are your brain, just a product of pure physical chance. And these two views could not be more opposed.
So, let's investigate our first suspect, shall we? This idea that our true essence is purely spiritual, a kind of ghost in the machine of our physical body.
Now pay attention to the framing here. In Platonism, the body isn't just a vehicle, it's seen as a prison. So the entire purpose of life becomes escaping this physical reality to climb up to some higher spiritual realm. This way of thinking can really change how we see the world, sometimes leading us to devalue our actual physical lives in favor of a purely mental or spiritual existence. The real you is the soul just trying to break free.
A philosopher named Plotinus gave us a really clear picture of this. He saw reality as this big ladder. Down at the very bottom, you've got nature, where our souls are trapped in bodies. The goal is to climb that ladder, moving up through the world soul and the realm of pure ideas to finally reach the One, a state of absolute, total spiritual transcendence.
And hey, this isn't just some dusty, ancient idea. The philosopher Descartes gave it a modern spin. He famously tried to find certainty by doubting everything, his senses, his body, the world around him. The one thing he realized he couldn't doubt was that he was doubting. He was thinking, and that led to his famous conclusion, I think, therefore I am. For him, the self was this pure thinking thing, a mind completely separate from the body. The real takeaway here is that this view finds the self by turning inward, by disengaging from the physical world.
All right, now let's pivot to our second suspect. If Platonism is all about the spirit, materialism throws it out completely. This view says, what if we're nothing more than matter?
Materialism argues that you are, quite simply, your brain. No soul, no ghost in the machine, no life after death. Your thoughts, your loves, your whole sense of self, it's all just complex biochemical reactions. We're the product of time and chance, a bunch of really improbable, random events. And this perspective, it challenges huge ideas like free will. I mean, are our choices really our own? And it definitely makes you wonder where we find meaning if there's no ultimate goal.
And this way of thinking leads to a pretty stark conclusion, which the philosopher Michel Foucault captured perfectly with this quote. If there's no divine spark, no transcendent soul, then the self isn't some stable, meaningful thing. It's temporary, it's fragile, and ultimately, it can be erased. As Foucault put it, the death of God has to lead to the death of the self.
Okay, so we're left with a choice between a disembodied soul or a meaningless pile of atoms. It's not great, right? But what if there's another way to solve this mystery? Let's explore a third path.
This brings us to a really crucial question. If we're not satisfied with being either a ghost or just a lucky animal, is there any other way to understand what it means to be human?
This is where the source material proposes a completely different idea, something called covenantal anthropology. And this is a major shift in thinking. It argues that your identity isn't a thing you find inside yourself, like a soul or some brain state. Instead, your identity is a relationship. Who you are is defined by how you're connected to God and to other people.
This just completely flips the script. The search for self is no longer this inward journey of navel-gazing like Descartes trying to detach from the world. Instead, it's an outward journey. We discover who we are by being fully engaged with and responsible to God, our neighbors, and the world around us. We don't first exist and then decide to enter into relationships. We exist in relationship from the very start.
Okay, so what does this relational identity actually look like in practice? Well, this brings us to the idea of a commission, which completely reframes the whole concept of being made in the image of God.
So check out this redefinition. The image of God isn't some quality we have, like a rational soul or a little divine spark inside us. No. Instead, it's a job we've been given. It's a vocation, a role. Think of it like being an ambassador. Your identity comes from the official commission you've received. It's not what's in you, it's what you're tasked to do.
And this commission has 4 parts. First, sonship and dominion. We're called to rule over creation as servant kings, to take care of it. Second, representation. We're supposed to act as God's official representatives here on earth. Third is glory. Our purpose is to reflect God's character out into the world. And finally, prophetic witness. We're called to speak for God and testify to what He's doing.
So what's the proper response to this massive commission? It's captured in the ancient Hebrew phrase, "Here I am." This isn't just saying I'm present, it's an answer of active responsibility. It's the total opposite of Adam in the Genesis story who hides when he's called. This is a declaration that says, I'm here, I'm accountable, and I'm ready to do my job.
And this all leads us to a pretty profound conclusion. In this covenantal view, the most fundamental thing about our identity isn't our individual rights, but our responsibilities, our obligations to love and serve God and our neighbor. Our duties actually come first.
So we've come full circle, but hopefully with a new perspective. Maybe the question we've been asking all along, who are you or what are you, has sent us on this wild goose chase, looking inward for some hidden essence. But if our identity is really relational, then maybe the better question is the one God asked way back in the garden. Where are you? Where do you stand in relation to your Creator, your neighbor, and your world? The answer to that question, that just might be the true key to the whole mystery of being human.